All right, here we are, EC's garage. This is my homeboy's 1979 C3 Corvette. Now, the Chevy produced the C3 Corvette from what, 1967 to 82? Long time. They came in various engines. A lot of changes were made over those years. They came with the either a 3-speed manual, 3-speed automatic, 4-speed manual, 4-speed automatic. This happens to have the 3-speed automatic. I bet this sucks to drive on the freeway, right? So how's your mullet coming along? Growing that mullet out? Every time I see these, every time you pull up, I think of Nazareth, Hair of the Dog, right? You know, it's funny. That song was actually produced, it was released in 1975, which they made these cars. I know somebody somewhere had a mullet, smoked unfiltered Marlboros, had an 8-track in this with the Hair of the Dog, and they blasted it, and they had a snake tattoo on their arm when they wore with their torn up tank top. I know it. So anyway, my homeboy's car, this is just awesome. It's just an oil change today, and we're gonna replace this this air dam thing at the bottom that diverts air up into the engine. Paint's good, as you can see. Obviously, this isn't factory from the factory, but this is factory color, right? Yeah, this is factory color. Good paint job, well taken care of. The interior is amazing, which you're gonna see right now. Interior is amazing. Look at those seats. It's awesome. Got a head unit in there. All the gauges and all that work in the dash. The AC, it works, but as you can imagine, it wasn't very good back then. The engine has had some work. I can at least hear a cam. I definitely hear that. It's for 1979. These came with a 350 cubic inch, 5.7 liter engine with 195 horsepower, which is not very much for these standards. 225, I think. Oh, the L-82. Yeah, he's got the L-82. These came with a 220 or 225. They did come with more. I think it was 220. Yeah, that's it. 3,500 pounds. So it weighs a little more than 3,500 pounds. So not super heavy by today's standards, but it just looks fast. So we're gonna change the oil. All right, we got it jacked up, about to get underneath it, start draining the oil real quick. Check this out. So obviously this has been rebuilt, really clean under here. Got a new master cylinder reservoir cap, air filter cap. This is carbureted. Distributor, plug wires. These don't look too old. No rust. This is a California car. It looks like it's been in California its whole life. It's surface rust, as you would expect, but everything's in really good shape. Even underneath, the ball joints even look pretty decent. This is awesome. Yep, that fiber thing works. All right, so we got the oil draining out here. Next, we're going to remove the filter after this is done. Remember, when you drain the oil, take the cap off the engine valve cover so you can let, you know, so there's no pressure in there holding the oil in, right? Let it all leak out. This is awesome. I'm super stoked working on this car. We got a loose, it's like a heat shield here. All right, we'll tighten this up. Got some cobwebs in here. This may need a bolt. All right, so this is stripped. We're gonna put a bolt and a nut through here. Leaking oil somewhere down here. Doesn't look like it's coming from up here. So it looks like from the oil pan somewhere. But overall pretty clean. All right, so we got oil's pretty much drained down to a trickle. All right, making a mess. So now what we're gonna do, get the new bolt and crush washer on, as you would any car. Let's see, let's cross our fingers this fits. Yes, good. Perfect. All right, so we'll get this tightened down. I'll give you the torque spec in a minute. It's not that tight. And then we're going to change out the filter right here. And then we're gonna get the new filter on, fill it with oil, get the new filter on, and then fill it with oil. All right, so this car takes 1030. We're using conventional oil. What we're gonna do, since the filter bolts up like this, what we're gonna do is we're going to fill the oil filter up with oil. It's about a half a quart here, so we're gonna just use the rest of this in here. That way when we start the car, it's not circulating oil into this filter and then through the car, so it's not, you know, it's running at least dry as possible. So we're gonna go, all right, and then we're gonna take a little bit of oil here, run our finger around the rubber, make a good seal, a little bit more. Perfect, make a good seal around this. This will help seal it when you screw it on. Don't have to tighten these very much. You know, I usually hand tighten them. I mean, I hand tighten them tight. You know, I use a lot of strength, but I don't necessarily crank it with my oil filter wrench. All right, so this is ready. We're going to put this back on. The drain plug is on with the crush washer. We're gonna put this on, get it tight as it needs to be, and then we're gonna start filling it up. All right, so we're gonna get this filter on. Make sure you take your time. You don't wanna cross thread this. You want it to, obviously you don't wanna cross thread it, but you wanna get this on straight. It should screw on easy. Once you get it, it should screw on fairly easy. And as you know, I'm wearing rubber gloves, so I got a good grip. And I'm pretty strong and all, you know, so perfect, tight enough, good. We got our drain plug torqued down, 20 pound-feet. We got this on really extremely hand tight. We're ready to fill it up. All right, so apparently whoever rebuilt this put the valve covers on the wrong side. Not a big deal, it's not gonna cause any issues. It just makes it a little difficult to fill this up. With a longer funnel, this would definitely be easier, but we're gonna try to make this work without making a huge mess. Same advice as always, take your time. When you try to pour in oil too fast, that's when you start spilling. All right, so the oil capacity of this is 5 quarts. We drained it, we've changed the filter, it's completely empty, so we're just gonna go all the way to 5. Normally I would stop a quart, you know, before completely emptying this can. I would stop at, normally I would stop at 4, come on. Normally I would stop at 4 quarts and check it, but we're just gonna leave it here. Put the whole thing in, and we'll let it down, then we'll start it up, let it circulate, check the oil, check the level, add more if we need, but I don't think we're gonna have overfill problem here. Ooh. All right, oil change is done. Next, we're gonna replace this air dam spoiler thing here that funnels air up into the engine. So what I want you to do right now while we're doing this, oil change is done. Oil change is done. We were listening to Whitesnake. Here I go again. So put that on, turn up as loud as you can while you watch this video, since we can't, since YouTube won't let us, because we don't own the rights. Whitesnake, here I go again on my own. After that, put on some like shit, Leonard Skinner, Freebird, perfect. And then Nazareth, hair of the dog. All right, so we got this old part off. Not super terrible. It's flimsy plastic. It does have some cracks. It is warped a little bit. Looks like bolts have gone through. So we're gonna put a new one on to make sure it stays on when we drive on the freeway. Even with the 3-speed transmission, I bet this was like 6,000 RPM at 60 miles an hour for the 3-speed. I can't imagine. Makes my Toyota, my 4Runner, seem way ahead of its time with its 4-speed automatic. Anyway, next we're gonna put a 16-inch lift and some 33-inch tires on this. We're gonna dunk it out. I'm joking. We're not touching it. This thing's perfect. All right, EC's Garage just finished changing the oil on the 79 C3 Corvette. Also just replaced this air dam thing, got it lowered. We're gonna see if it starts and check the oil level, make sure it's full. I feel like I need those marble non-filtered cigarettes, a cowbell. I need a cowbell. I need a cowbell. All right, so awesome. We're gonna start this up. I've driven a lot of really awesome cars. I've driven a Ford GT. I drove a couple of Ferraris, Porsches, really amazing cars. But I feel like 100 times cooler now. I'm pretty, I knew that. All right, here we go. All right, so that's a good sign. It started up. Listen to that. I can't tell you how awesome it feels sitting in here with it, listening to that cam. All right, so we're gonna let this idle for a few minutes, or a minute, let the oil circulate, and then we're gonna check it out. Not gonna rev it up or anything, just let the oil circulate. And then we're gonna check the level. I expect it to be perfect. Especially black. This is my color, man. This is, obviously. This car's speaking to me right now. It wants to stay here. All right, so we're gonna check the oil. Dipstick on this side, filler cap on the other side because we think somebody put it on the wrong side. Whatever. If and when you ever need to rebuild this engine, we'll worry about it then. All right, bam. Yeah, oil's so damn clean, it's hard to see where it's at. Perfect. it's just like a millimeter above the full line, but it's got a small leak, right? So we overcompensated for that. When we work on old cars like this, put a towel over it, or just stand like I am and don't lean on it. I mean, any car, but especially this. All right, awesome, we're done. Oil's changed, air filter's clean, master cylinder for the brakes, .3 by the way is full, new air dam. This thing's awesome.